Imagine that you die and return with a truth that changes the way you think about Christmas. Today, you'll hear the story of a woman who went beyond life and received a shocking message from Jesus himself. What did she learn, and why is her story so important? Subscribe to our channel and watch until the end to hear this amazing message. Emily always thought Christmas was the most special time of the year. Even at 35, she waited for the holiday with excitement, just like a child. Her cozy home on the edge of a quiet town was always filled with the smell of fresh cookies, her kids' laughter, and soft music playing in the background. Every year, Emily carefully decorated her home with strings of lights and hung old ornaments on the tree, special pieces passed down in her family for generations. For Emily, Christmas wasn't just about presents. It was a time when her family came together, forgetting their worries and sharing love. This year, as always, she started getting ready early. Her to-do list was full of tasks: buy gifts, cook family favorites, and make sure to go to church for the Christmas service. But even with her busy schedule, she kept feeling like something was missing, something important that couldn't be replaced by gifts or decorations. Emily's mornings began with a warm cup of tea and planning her day. She would check her calendar to see what else needed to be done before the holiday. Her children, 5-year-old Tommy and 7-year-old Kate, ran around the house, filling it with their happy voices as they talked about the gifts they couldn't wait to open under the tree. Still, Emily found herself thinking that every Christmas felt the same. Her days were full of chores, and her nights were filled with questions. Sitting by the window and looking at the twinkling lights outside, she often felt an emptiness she couldn't explain. Why am I doing all of this? She wondered. What's the real purpose of all these decorations and gifts? I feel joy, but deep inside, it feels like something is missing. Memories of her childhood came back to her. Back then, Christmas was different. Her mother would read her Bible stories about the birth of Jesus. They prayed together at church, and those moments filled Emily's heart with a warmth that she now realized she had lost. That day, like many others, Emily went shopping. She stood in a long line at the store, watching the hustle and bustle around her. People were rushing, grabbing gifts, and checking their lists. A wave of sadness hit her as she thought, have we all forgotten what Christmas is really about? When she got home, she was exhausted but tried not to show it to her kids. After they went to bed, she carefully placed the gifts under the tree. Sitting down on the couch, she asked herself, is this what it all comes down to? Is this what God wanted Christmas to be? Deep inside, Emily knew life could be more than just rushing around and getting ready for the holidays. But she had no idea that soon she would receive answers that would change everything she thought about Christmas. It happened so suddenly. Emily had just finished arranging the gifts under the tree. She sat down on the couch to take a break and closed her eyes, letting her tiredness take over. But instead of rest, something completely unexpected happened. At first, she felt a slight dizziness. Her heart skipped a beat, then started racing, making her chest feel strange and heavy. She raised her hand to her chest, trying to take a deep breath, but the air wouldn't come. What's happening to me? She thought, feeling her strength leave her. The room around her blurred. The sound of the TV playing softly and the wind outside faded away, as if someone had turned the volume down. Everything sounded far away, like an echo underwater. Emily tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't move. Her eyes rested on the Christmas tree lights, twinkling brightly. It was the last thing she saw before everything went dark. But the darkness wasn't scary. It didn't feel empty. Instead, Emily felt light, as if a heavy burden had been lifted off her. It was as if her soul had been set free, floating gently upward. Looking down, she saw her living room. She could see herself lying still on the couch. She saw her husband rushing into the room, calling her name, and her kids crying in fear. Is that really me? She thought. But instead of fear, she felt a deep sense of peace. Emily watched as though she were just an observer. She saw her husband grabbing the phone to call for help and her children holding onto him, tears streaming down their faces. Yet none of it made her feel anxious. Instead, her heart was filled with an unshakable calm. Suddenly, her attention shifted. She looked up and noticed something pulling her gaze upward, a soft, glowing light. This wasn't just any light. It wasn't harsh or blinding. It was warm, comforting, and alive. Emily felt it surrounding her, filling every part of her being with love and hope. Is this the end? She wondered. But there was no sadness in the thought. Instead, it felt like someone was gently whispering, "Do not be afraid. You are not alone." The world around her grew silent, but it wasn't an empty silence. It was full of something powerful, as if the entire universe had paused to listen. Emily continued to rise, and the light grew brighter, pulling her closer. She didn't know where she was going, but she felt she was moving towards something greater. Her heart was filled with a mix of awe and wonder. As the light surrounded Emily completely, she realized that the space around her was changing. It didn't feel like a normal place. Time and reality seemed to disappear. The light wasn't just all around her, it was within her, filling her with warmth and love. Then she saw him. Out of the radiant light, a figure began to appear. At first, it was blurry, but with every moment, it became clearer. Emily froze as she saw a man dressed in brilliant white robes that seemed to glow from within. His face was kind, wise, and filled with an incredible strength. Emily's heart trembled. She didn't need to ask who he was. She knew. It was Jesus. As he came closer, Emily felt her soul open up. Her entire life flashed before her, every joy, every mistake, every moment. She felt both awe and humility. But in his presence, there was no judgment, only overwhelming love. Jesus looked at her with a gentle smile. His voice was deep yet soft, resonating within her soul. "Emily, do you know what Christmas really means?" Emily stood still, trying to find the right words. For her, Christmas had always been about family, happiness, gifts, and decorations. But as she tried to answer, she realized those thoughts weren't enough. "Christmas is the day we celebrate your birth," she finally whispered. Jesus nodded slightly, but there was something more in his gaze, something Emily couldn't yet understand. "But what does it truly mean to you?" he asked. Before she could respond, images began to appear before her. She saw stores packed with people grabbing gifts, arguing over sales, and rushing through endless to-do lists. She saw families sitting at tables, but no one prayed or spoke about God. She saw herself, busy preparing but forgetting the deeper meaning of it all. "The world has forgotten the true meaning of Christmas," Jesus said. "They celebrate the day, but they forget why it exists. They look for joy in things that don't last, instead of in the eternal truth." His words cut deep into Emily's heart. She knew they were true. She remembered how, as a child, her mother read to her about Jesus' birth and prayed with her by the Christmas tree. Those moments had been full of meaning, but over time, they had been replaced by distractions and busyness. "I came into this world not so people could focus on decorations or gifts," Jesus continued. "I came to bring light to their darkness, to show them the way. But they have forgotten. They've replaced the truth with an illusion. Tears streamed down Emily's face. She saw crowds of people chasing after material things, turning away from God. And she realized she had been one of them. "What can I do to change this?" she asked, her voice trembling. Jesus looked at her with infinite love. "I'm sending you back so you can remind them. Remind them that Christmas isn't just about joy, it's about remembering my love and the sacrifice I made by coming into this world. Without me, the day loses its meaning." Emily felt a heavy weight but also a growing determination in her heart. She knew this message wasn't just for her. She had to share it, even if others doubted or didn't understand. The space around her began to shift. The light softened, as if preparing her for her return. But Jesus' words would stay with her forever. "Go and tell them." Jesus' words echoed in Emily's heart, "Go and tell them." She felt overwhelmed by both the weight of the mission and the deep love she had experienced. "But why me?" she asked, gazing at his face. Jesus looked at her with kindness that touched the deepest part of her soul. "You were chosen not because of your strength or knowledge, but because of your faith and open heart. My strength works through weakness, and my love acts through those who are willing." Emily thought about her life. She remembered the times she had missed chances to speak about God, the moments she had been too busy to pray, and how she had let the true meaning of Christmas slip away. Standing before him now, she realized all those mistakes could be turned into something good. "I'm afraid they won't listen to me," she whispered. "What if my words don't make a difference?" Jesus stepped closer, his voice gentle yet powerful. "You are not alone, Emily. I will be with you. Remember, this is not your mission, it's mine. You are simply the messenger, the light that shines to guide others. Speak from your heart, and they will hear you." At that moment, Emily saw visions of her future. She saw herself standing before people, sharing her story. Some listened with interest, others with doubt, but a spark of curiosity lit up in their hearts. She saw families returning to the true meaning of Christmas, turning to faith and prayer. "What should I tell them?" she asked, feeling her resolve grow stronger. "Tell them Christmas isn't about gifts, decorations, or even traditions," Jesus said. "It's the day the world remembers the great love that saved them. Remind them that I didn't come for celebration, I came to give them hope, to save them from darkness." Emily's heart burned with determination. She no longer felt fear, only a deep desire to fulfill her mission. "I will do it," she said firmly, her voice steady. "I will remind them about you. I will help them see what they've forgotten." Jesus nodded with approval, his eyes radiating endless love. "Your faith and willingness are all you need. Remember, even if you save just one soul, your mission will be complete." The light around Emily grew softer. She felt herself being gently pulled back. Her mission was clear, and now she knew what she had to do. For a moment, his voice echoed one last time. "Go in peace. And remember, I am always with you." Emily felt her soul being drawn downward. The light that had surrounded her began to dim, fading into soft shadows, and then into complete darkness. Along with it came the weight of her body, the pain, and the weakness she hadn't felt in the bright, heavenly realm. "I'm going back," she thought, her heart filled with mixed emotions. She didn't want to leave the peace and love of that place, but she understood, her mission was just beginning. Suddenly, her eyes opened. Bright hospital lights blinded her, and she instinctively tried to shield her face, but her body was weak and heavy. She heard voices around her, doctors and nurses speaking in urgent but hopeful tones. "She's awake," one of them exclaimed. "This is a miracle," another whispered. Emily took a deep breath, as if filling her lungs with air for the first time. Every movement hurt, but her heart was filled with peace and gratitude. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Where am I?" she whispered weakly. "You're in the hospital," a doctor said gently. "Your heart stopped, but we were able to bring you back. You just experienced something incredible." The doctor's words seemed distant. In her mind, Emily could still hear Jesus' voice, "Go and tell them." Those words burned in her heart like a flame that couldn't be extinguished. Over the following days, as she recovered, Emily began sharing her story. She told friends, neighbors, and later her church about the true meaning of Christmas. "Christmas isn't about gifts or decorations," she told them. "It's a reminder of God's love and the Savior who came to bring us light. We must never forget that." Her words touched many hearts. Some doubted, but others were moved to open their Bibles, pray, and reflect on the real reason for the holiday. Each night, Emily prayed for strength and wisdom to share this truth with as many people as she could. She knew her life would never be the same, but she also knew that the truth she had seen could save countless souls, if only they were willing to listen. Thank you for watching this video. Emily's story brings us back to the true meaning of Christmas. If it touched your heart, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. See you in the next video.